Horror Movie Night, we're going somewhere tropical, somewhere hot, somewhere that's full of amazing and fun people. Now, we haven't decided where it is yet, but we know where the fuck it won't be, and that's the resort from Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. Adam doesn't even remember picking this movie. I hardly remember watching this movie, and Scott's trying to remember why he does this podcast. Now wake up, strap on your carrot nose, and report for duty, because Captain Fun says that it's horror movie night.
Oh, God, Captain Fun. I just want to scrub this movie from my brain. Adam, we gave you so many opportunities to back out of this pick, and you're like, nope, gotta follow through.
Well, see, here's the thing. You were talking to drunk Adam, because I don't remember picking this.
God damn it. Like 3 times?
Yep.
That was during the afternoon every time.
Shit. Okay, so from my understanding, neither of you really have, like, any notes whatsoever for this. I have, like, 30 notes for this, because this movie confused the fuck out of me, and I wrote almost, like, everything down. So I'm going to be the one doing the walkthrough for us on this one, because I have plenty to go on.
And I'll just keep my notes open and jump in when needed.
Now, I do vaguely recall suggesting we pick Jack Frost 1 and somebody suggesting that we pick 2. Did that happen? Because I do vaguely recall that.
Well, that may have happened. That may have happened. I think you picked Jack Frost, and I was like, well, if you're going to pick Jack Frost in the middle of the summer, you might as well go with Jack Frost 2 that's on a tropical island. But
okay, I get your line of thinking there, but this... it had to have been better than the first one. I've never seen it.
I will spoil this for you right now. This one is better than the first Jack Frost movie.
It's like saying, well, this stinky piece of, like, cow shit is better than this other stinky piece of cow shit. They're really abysmally bad films.
Oh, yeah, no, they're both horrible. The only thing that I give this one is that at least there's an attempt at humor in this one, whereas, like, the first one didn't even, like, try to be funny. It was just like, hey, we got to kill a snowman. That's all we got.
Really? Like, I don't remember. I mean, because I must have been in junior high or something when I watched the original Jack Frost. And I remember thinking it was lame as hell. But I definitely don't remember enough about it to remember if they realized that they were making an absurd film and, like, go with it. But you're saying that they didn't?
Well, Jack Frost 2, here's the thing. In the first Jack Frost movie, one of the big plot points of it is they go with that Child's Play angle where the sheriff's son is always around when someone gets murdered, so everyone thinks that it's his son that's doing the killing until, like, halfway through the movie. And it's fucking dumb. Like, that's a dumb angle to take on this, because it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't a woman get raped by the carrot nose in that movie?
Isn't that... Shannon Elizabeth is taking a bath.
Yeah.
Man, we should have watched that instead. Anyways, also big
no boobs. No boobs in Jack Frost 1 either.
Okay, well, there was. It's not like we're fucking movie-saving tits that we saw in this one. But also, big spoiler alert for Jack Frost 1, because in this movie, he doesn't have a fucking son. So I wonder what happened here. Okay, so we start off with a little bit of slam poetry. He's in Klaus from fucking Puppet Master 3. He's in his office. Right, and he starts reciting that poem about Jack Frost and whatever. Klaus is a real asshole, and he's letting a bunch of other people listen in on their conversation because this guy's so crazy, blah, blah, blah. But whatever. The opening credits happen, and it's like somebody did them in MS Paint. Like,
yeah.
the font on... Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman is like what you would see outside of, like, somebody's shoddily set up haunted house that they did, like. Just so stupid. So anyways, whatever, they dig up Jack Frost's antifreeze or whatever.
Well, and why would you want to remake Jack Frost? Like, I never quite understood that line of thinking while I'm watching this. I'm like, he's just going to kill you too, you know that, right?
Well, the other thing I don't understand is that it's like, it's not like one of his cronies. Like the whole plot line of Jack Frost was that he was a serial killer that was melted into the snow. Like, you couldn't come up with, like, one of his friends or, like, someone else that he knew. It's like a scientist that's doing it, which makes it all the more unreasonable that this scientist so desperately wants to figure out the secret to Jack Frost that he'll murder in order to find it. Like, it doesn't... There's no logic to that.
Well, I tell you what the secret is to bringing him back.
Coffee?
Coffee, apparently. Yeah. You just put him in a vat, and then you accidentally dump coffee in there, and bing, bang, boom, there you go. He's back to life. I don't know why.
Really, like, I watched this. I actually sat through, well, I watched most of this. And I'm going to be honest with you that the part that I watched the hardest, you know, like, was actually present for was the beginning credits when they brought him back. And I don't remember that was, like, he spilled coffee and that was what brought him back. That's so absurd.
Yeah, there's a cup of coffee, obviously winter-themed mugs, you know, they got the, you know, Christmas-themed mug. It's sitting on the side of the thing, and the guy comes in, he's, like, vacuuming the floor, knocks it into the tub of green goo, and then he's alive. Like, I get it. You're dead without coffee in the morning. Ha 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 ha.
But it's not funny or clever. Like, this shit is so ham-fisted, I can't stand it.
You know what's, like, the hallmark of, like, one of these bad movies? Where, like, it's really cheap and you know it's straight to DVD, is when the cinematographer couldn't quite figure out the frame per second.
Yes.
It all looks a little janky and, like, weird. Like, when you see that happening in a movie and you're like, why does it look like that? You're like, oh, this is going to be awful. I get it. Okay. Same thing happened with the Hobbit movies. Anyways. So... He literally kills this guy for a carrot. Like, that's all he wants. He wants a carrot from a guy. And then the talking carrot washes up on the beach, and I mean, Jack Frost is he's super magic. Was this what he was like in the first movie, where he can do literally fucking anything? Like, yeah. He's a ice sorcerer. Like, he can do anything that he wants.
Oh, yeah.
That Castaway scene is so absurd. Like, it's just two guys fighting over a cooler that has a carrot in it, and then that carrot gets into the water, and it's basically like the fin from Jaws. Like, it's like, oh, there he is. You just see this carrot floating around in the water. It's fucking bad. This movie's really bad.
I'm going to argue that this is the worst movie that we've ever watched together. Pre-horror movie night. I'm just saying, like, horror club, nothing compares to how bad this film is.
Us together, maybe. There's some movies from the early horror movie or Reddit Horror Club that fucking sucked. I would watch Jack Frost 2 1,000 times before I'd watch Wakewood again. Like,
oh my god! Well, of course you have to pick from, like, the first month of us doing a horror club, because I remember Wakewood. It was bad, but I rewatch Wakewood. I dare you. It is not as bad as Jack Frost 2. Like, somebody, dear God, back me up.
We're going to get to it eventually, but Jack Frost 2 has at least two moments that I think redeem the entire movie, for me anyway.
Well, you have terrible taste, so this is probably not a surprise.
Okay, I practiced this a bunch the other night while I was watching this movie, so let's see if I can get it. I think what you're looking for is under the tree there. And then smash cut to two obviously mentally handicapped men under a palm tree.
Not since Jaws the Revenge has an offensively Jamaican accent been more prominent in a movie.
Oh, same with the English Indian gentleman as well. He's like the dad from Tarzan, like Jane's dad. It's so bad. It's like, get him out of here. Are
we at the point where we meet Captain Fun yet, and he uses the phrase "super duper party pooper"?
Oh, guys, I missed like 2 of my 5 notes. I have 5 notes that we skipped over.
Okay, let's roll back the clock. What did we miss here?
Okay, so the very, very beginning, the policeman who's like trying to get his psychologist to believe like the events of the first movie. He's acting the shit out of this script. I can't believe that we didn't talk about the fact that like he's straight like high school play audition for that scene.
He's gonna lose his momentum. He's gonna lose his momentum later on. He's gonna stop caring real hard.
True. And then it's an unmarked grave, right? He's like, it's in an unmarked grave. Why does it have a headstone?
Well, it's like they went to a graveyard and buried him in between some other graves. And I'm like, that seems like a terrible idea. You know, those graveyards get dug up and reburied all the time, right? Like that's, but whatever. Can you think? I can't think of a place that I'd be more apt to kill myself than a fucking resort on Christmas. Like they're at this tropical location and they're all singing Christmas carols, and it's like I came here to fucking get away from that. Stop it.
Yeah, and then they also do a conga line. Like, basic yuppie bullshit.
So, still early on, I'm trying to get a feel for this movie. And then the anvil death happens.
That's one of the two redeeming pieces of this movie to me is the anvil death.
Why?
I love the shit out of that anvil death because it's so dumb.
Wait, is the anvil death? Is that a head explosion?
No, that's. I guess it could count as a head explosion, but it's not the. It's not the head explosion. The anvil one is when the drunk girl's stumbling around picking up rocks, and he's up in a tree, and he keeps trying to drop icicles on her, and then eventually the voiceover, because you never see his fucking mouth moving, just is like, fuck it, and then a giant ice anvil falls on her like a fucking Wile E. Coyote cartoon. He roadrunners her.
I guess that is kind of funny.
Compared to the other jokes
of actual humor in this.
I was gonna say, compared to the other moments in this movie, that's fucking top-notch comedy writing compared to the rest of the attempts at jokes in this.
It's like Duke's even more sexist shitty uncle wrote this movie. Okay. Hey, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't even think it's in context it would make sense, but there's a line that goes, I don't know whether to shit myself or grab the barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? What?
Very common phrase.
Yeah, in America, we say that all the time.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Okay.
I can't believe that hasn't made it over there.
Yeah. Up here we say, I don't know whether to shit myself or grab the maple syrup. So I was
looking at there you go.
Believe me, it makes sense when you use it up here, and we use it a lot. Okay. So you guys know that I watched the movies on that box thing, right?
Yes.
About 20 minutes into the movie, the box just stopped the movie and shut it off. And I was like, oh, well, the box, I do appreciate what you're trying to do, but I have to watch it. I'm sorry.
The box felt your pain.
Yeah, he's like, don't do this to me.
That box is going to go hardwire on you one of these days.
I would deserve it for the shit that I make it go through.
You know, I have to point out here, Adam used his like quasi legal box.
There's nothing quasi about that box. It is illegal.
Listen, I'm not doing anything illegal. But whoever made this box and puts the content on it, yeah, they're doing some illegal shit.
You know, Adam, you sound like every fundamentalist Christian talking about women right now.
Yeah. I treat this box like I treat my wife, real shitty. I make it sit through a bunch of bad stuff.
Oh my God, you said what I am.
I get real drunk and I abuse the box.
You ever turn that box and just like, you William Sadler the box?
You took the best years of my life from me, box.
Okay, so people in this movie are constantly like, especially the eye patch guy. The eye patch guy is like, listen, we don't talk about it, okay? We don't ever mention that shit that happened. And then 10 seconds later, he's like, winking a nudge, like, Christmas time. Haha, get it? I don't, we both know. It's like, make up your fucking mind. What are you doing? Like, there's like a total of 9 people on this fucking island. There's like
it's
nobody.
Resort.
Yeah, it's a resort. Like, and I don't know. It's Christmas time. You'd think it'd be busy, but there's like the 2 couples, Captain Fun, and some other staff, and like that's about it.
Well,
Unless
do you think?
there's.
How good do you think the Yelp reviews are for this cruise? Like. I'm pretty sure most people aren't giving it 5 stars. Because Captain Fun's there, for starters.
Yeah, it was fine, but for some reason they made the staff talk an offensive accent. Oh, okay, so now we're to the head exploding scene.
Which is the other redeeming moment to me in the movie.
Yeah. You get the little gay Asian photographer, and you get the bikini model, who is like 45 years old, by the way. Seen some better days. So that's why she's at this shitty resort doing fucking snowboard shots on the beach.
With a camera guy who's using a Polaroid camera.
Yeah. It was so stupid. But, okay, so the ice shit happens, and he's like getting rubbed on her nipples and then put in her mouth. And that's what causes her head to explode, is he's inside of her body, and so explodes her head. Now, the camera dude, right, he had his big, clunky, shitty Polaroid camera in front of his face, directly covering his entire face. She explodes, and he pulls the camera down, and there's blood splatter all over the front of his face. That's where the camera was, all right? It wouldn't have splattered blood on his fucking face there.
I love that this is what broke your suspension of disbelief.
The blood went through the lens and out the eye hole, clearly.
It must. Yeah, for sure. They cut to an archery scene, and they're all, like, later on it shows that they're shooting at targets, but it just shows them shooting bows and arrows at a sign that says the word archery. And I was like, is that gonna be your archery scene for real? Okay. There was actually one part that I found genuinely funny. The sheriff, Eye Patch Guy, and Captain Fun are talking to each other, and Eye Patch Guy goes, "Yeah, you remember his performance back in the office? Oh, he was fucking killing it." And the sheriff guy goes, "No, I wasn't in the room when that happened." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I guess you weren't." It was like they forgot what was happening in the script at the time.
The funniest part, though, is that one person remembered. And then they left it in.
I hope that was improvised, because that was pretty good. Actually, no. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to say I hope that was written, because somebody must have came in, like some fucking coffee jockey that must have came in and been like, "Why don't you make this happen in the movie?" And the writer's like, "Get out of here, Jimmy. That's fucking stupid." And Jimmy leaves, and he's like, "God, that is actually really funny. We got to put that in the movie." Shit. A former FBI agent, a small-town sheriff who's been on law enforcement for decades, right? And they're both going to take advice on what to do from Captain Fun. They're both gonna. He's like, Jimmy's got a plan. Like, Captain Fun's got a plan. And it's like, okay, we'll do that then. I feel like you've got a lot more experience. You probably got way better ideas than he does, guys. But whatever, we'll do it. Why did no one tell the old English huntsman guy not to put a snowman costume on? They all know what's going on. I mean, just hold off on wearing the snowman costume. So when he gets hit in the head with a shovel, I'm kind of like, this could have been easily prevented. Guys, okay, so yeah, we get to the pool. The lady's gonna skinny dip. I'm like, finally, some titties, thank God. And then he freezes over the top of the pool and watches her drown in there. Now that is like a 1/4 inch of ice. Just punch it.
It's magic ice.
Is it though? Because like the ice.
You tell me. You picked this movie.
Well, the ice he creates it magically, but it all seems to just be regular ice and snow, other than the little snowball guys later on.
Who are adorable.
So, yeah, well, they're just little plushies, right? So,
yeah.
Whatever. She should have been able to punch through that. And then he coats the entire island in snow, which, whatever, but it's a tropical fucking island. that it doesn't matter if you dumped a foot of snow on it, it would all melt within about a half an hour. It'd be fucking gone. So
Adam knows these things. He's Canadian.
everybody loves it. No one's like, this is weird. They're like, oh, great. Snow has finally come to the tropics.
Yeah, I'm so happy that on this tropical vacation that I spent thousands of dollars on to come here to get away from winter in Wisconsin, that now it's fucking snowing here. This is great. I love it. This is the best. This is exactly what I wanted. Okay, that guy, one of the two handicapped gentlemen, he gets his tongue stuck to a pole, right? His friend's like, this beer's warm. The pole's cold. Put your tongue on the pole and then I'll pour the warm beer on there. And he's like, yeah, dude, okay. And so he puts his tongue on the pole, and then his friend, whatever, is an idiot, so he just walks away. Now, if you look closely, that motherfucker has a bottle of beer in his hand. Just dump it. That was the plan all along. Why aren't you just dumping the beer on the pole? But whatever, we got the tongue kill where he, like, yanks his head off the pole and his tongue stays behind. Stupid. Fucking stupid. Okay.
You seem way less upset about how dumb this movie is than I am.
I got enough good notes out of it that I was like, fuck it, worth it. Well, here's the thing. My next note is, oh, wow. I haven't made a note in 20 minutes. I lost some steam on this one because, like, the action scene starts happening, and it's just like, who cares? Like, yeah, lots of stuff's going on, but it's awful. Every last minute of it is fucking awful.
Yeah, don't break your fingers doing the quotation marks around the word action scene, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. It's just a bunch of like wide shots of people running around, and a lot of them are like smiling. They're like, ha ha ha. Thanks, extras, for fucking ruining my suspension of disbelief. But yeah, and then really quick close-ups of just shitty, quick one-off deaths, right? They push him in the pool, and this is the dumbest fucking. This is some stupid shit. So the antifreeze doesn't kill him, right? Because I guess really quickly they explain, oh, Jack was like bleeding into the antifreeze the last time this happened, and so his DNA must have like mixed with Jack Frost. Okay, how comfortable and healthy and alive do you think you would be if you fell in an entire fucking pool full of antifreeze and swallowed a bunch of it? Yeah. Do you think you'd be doing all right? I don't think I'd be doing okay. Who fucking cares if he has human DNA in him? Antifreeze is still poison to humans. Jesus fucking idiots. But all it manages to do is make him puke a snowball up. So they bring the snowball inside, and it hatches, and then we get this ongoing slapstick bullshit.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, them trying to kill the snowball, and whatever. The sheriff guy is walking around with a flashlight looking for him. Eyeball guy, eye patch guy finds a whole room full of them, which is the worst part, because it keeps showing you them like on shelves and stuff like that, and they're just plushies. They literally are just like the set designer's wife just sewed up a bunch of them the night before, right? That was all, and they just, and one or two of them had like like 2 finger holes in the bottom, so they could be like and that was it. So just terrible, but not as bad as when they put it in like the blender and stuff, and then it's the CGI snowman, because that was fucking bad. That was some real bad shit. Yeah. And then it reiterates again. Remember years ago when Jack bled into the antifreeze? Well, he's allergic to bananas. So fucking there you go. Whatever. We get the tragic death scene where like the little baby snowman dies, and then Jack sheds like a little frozen tear, and then they shoot him with banana water, and the movie's over. Right? Except the credits roll, and it cuts to like the most racist Godzilla spoof ever seen on Earth. Just hyper fucking racist. And I didn't even watch till the end of that skit. I was like, nope, and shut it off. I was like, fuck it. So yeah, that was Jack Frost 2. We all loved it. We all recommend it. It's great. Watch it with your family on Christmas time.
So we got so I mean, obviously, the listeners of this show will get these in separate weeks, but we've got 2 more fucking movies discussed today. But
oh God, why?
I've got to say though, I think we started with the worst one, and it's only building upwards from here. But Jesus Christ, this movie's terrible. I'm sorry.
Matt Kelly thinks it's terrible. That's pretty bad.
I'm sorry that I was like, yeah, we'll do Jack Frost 2. I mean, I do think that I was right in my assessment that we would get a better episode out of it, but Jesus fucking Christ, Jack Frost 2.
I don't know. I feel like we've probably done worse movies.
I agree.
This is the worst movie we've ever discussed.
I feel like we say that once a month.
Yeah, you're being hyperbolic, because, come on, we've had to have discussed something worse than this. Fuck.
That's a good word. Good job, Adam.
Thank you. That's my word of the day from the calendar that I bought.
Oh my God. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm just going to believe it is.
All right, so you guys ready to talk about what you watched this week?
Oh, dear God, am I ever.
All right.
Sure.
I'll start because my stuff's stuff that you're not even going to really care that much about. So we're actually recording this on Labor Day morning because usually we record on the weekends, but I was away all weekend. And I'm going to try to keep this short, but I did want to give a quick shout out to what I was doing. My friend Molly works for a organization called Chikara that is super family-friendly, luchador-inspired wrestling. It was a blast. It was probably the most fun I could have had all weekend. It's weird. The thing that I wanted to say about Chikara and the reason why I want to give them any type of promotion is like they have this weird thing where it is super family-friendly. It's like super positive. It's very like pro-women wrestling. It's very pro-non-racist depictions of ethnicities. Like it's awesome. The event is called King of Trios. It's teams of 3 people. It starts off with 16 the first night, works its way down to 8 teams, and then on the last night it's 4 teams until they name a King of Trios. This year there was a Queen of Trios because the finale was literally 2 all-female teams from Japan that they flew in from Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah, like it's they are firm believers in like equal rights. Their catchphrase is equal rights, equal fights. Women wrestlers should get paid the same amount as every other guy. They should be able to do all of the same stuff that any guy can do, and to say otherwise is completely demeaning. But it's also very comic book and horror influence. So like their champion is a guy named Hollow Wicked who has like a giant black devil mask that he wears, and they have a bunch of weird like ants in there. But it was just a ton of fun. They flew in a bunch of really unexpected shit like that, like wrestling fans would lose their minds over. The 2 big ones was that all weekend long Joey Styles from ECW did the commentary, which is like a huge deal if you were a kid in the 90s who loved ECW. But the one thing that they do every year is called a tag team gauntlet, where it starts off with 2 tag teams and then one gets eliminated, another tag team comes out, and it just keeps going until every tag team comes out. Usually it's just a way for them to show off some of the young guys that are training to be wrestlers at the factory. But then out of nowhere, D-Generation X's music starts playing, and X-Pac and Billy Gunn came out and started wrestling.
Is that like early 2000s?
Yeah.
Is that late 90s? Really? That sounds familiar from when I was in high school.
That was like the fucking suck it, like the
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like they were like the biggest thing for a long time. So it was like the crowd lost their shit when that happened. So like I said, it is very not serious. It's very like playing up the comedy and the absurdity. It kind of is like if the Muppets decided to do a wrestling organization. So if any of that sounds like something you would enjoy, definitely check out some of their stuff online because it is really, really fucking funny. Something that is trying to be really fucking funny but isn't, God bless them, is Evil Bong 420, which I finally got around to watching. There's a chance we might need to watch Evil Bong 420. That shit is 48 minutes long. So this is what the plot line of Evil Bong 420 is. And it's going to sound like I'm making it up, but I'm being totally fucking honest. So apparently, I haven't watched all of the Evil Bong movies, but apparently, somewhere in part 3, the Evil Bong created its own, like, land of Drugachusis, where it's just, like, nothing but like crazy skies and pot plants and Ginger Dead Man and like all of the fucking big characters from the Full Moon lineup just live in this drug state. And this one dude was fucking banging the bong, and he escapes with all of her best weed and builds a topless bowling alley where he sells the weed as a side gig at this topless bowling alley. And the movie takes place on the opening day of the topless bowling alley. And
wait. Somebody had sex with the evil bong?
Apparently, yeah. She was in love with him.
Do you see that happen?
No, you don't see that happen. They just discuss it. So
doesn't she have like little plastic cleavage kind of on her?
Yeah, a little bit. So literally for the first 30 minutes, it's just them like making jokes about topless bowling and getting high. And it just keeps randomly cutting to the evil bong back in Drugachusis, trying to find out where her lover is, and then realizes that he escaped. So they go back into the real world for the last like 15 minutes of the movie, and start killing people, and then eventually go back to Drugachusis with all of them. But I think previously when I was talking about Evil Bong on this show, I talked about how like it's so low budget that they just never even have her lips move. Like it's just an inanimate object that they have a voiceover for. They upgrade it to that fucking like Johnny Quest shit where it's someone's actual mouth superimposed over top of the bong. Like,
nice.
Was this from like last year or something?
Yeah,
like,
it came out last year. It's all. So this is what's weird is that literally what I realized is that Evil Bong 420 is basically just like a short film to bridge the gap between Evil Bong 3, The Wrath of Bong, and Evil Bong High Five that just came out. Like, it's the movie that connects those two. So I think it was just kind of thrown together on the fly when they're like, dudes, we have no way to explain how these guys got back here. We got to make up a movie real quick to explain it. So it's pretty fucking bad. What did you guys watch this week?
All right, so Megan and I watched the Back to the Future trilogy, like successively, because it's all on Netflix. And man, Back to the Future 2, still so good. I mean, Back to the Future 1's great. I've seen that movie so many times. I don't think I've seen Back to the Future 2 nearly as many times as I remember having seen it, because there was some stuff that happened in that I was like, I don't remember this at all. So I think that might have been my third watch of that, which is just weird. Because I've seen the original Back to the Future probably 20 times.
I think 2 is the best of the 3, in all honesty.
It is. And man, 3 is god-awful.
Oh, I don't think it's that. I think 3 is funny, but it's not as good as 1 and 2 are.
Okay, so I guess that our sliding scale of what is good and bad is definitely on the low side this week because of Jack Frost 2. But really, when you watch Back to the Future 2, and Back to the Future 3 as your only media content or your entertainment content for like 6 days, because I think it took us like 2 days per movie watching it at night, man, Part 3 is very pale compared to Part 2.
It's my favorite Western, though. Like,
are you saying that it's better than Wild Wild West?
Yes, I am. I think
I'll probably give it that title as well. Actually, yeah, it's probably better than that. But if we're gonna watch a sci-fi western, I'm gonna watch The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. instead.
All right, fair enough. But I just Back to the Future. I'm a firm believer that Back to the Future is probably one of the best trilogies. I would rank it up there with like Indiana Jones and the original Star Wars trilogy, because I think even like the way I feel about Back to the Future 3 is like I enjoy it. I think that the jokes work. I think that it's a good way to just wrap up the whole story. But it's definitely not as good as 1 and 2. But compared to a lot of other Part 3s in the world of movies that had up to 3 sequels, it actually holds up a lot better than especially in the media that we discuss, which is horror films. Like by the time you get to Part 3, it's like there's no thought put into it. At least like Back to the Future 3 doesn't feel like this random cash-in decision, but like they wanted to get to that place. Like I like that Back to the Future, that whole trilogy, really, as much as it's a sci-fi show, it's really just a movie about trying to teach Marty McFly life lessons and learn, like it all just comes back to, hey, don't be so hot-headed. Like, that's what the entire plot of all three of those movies ends up being.
Yeah, but 3 is more about teaching Doc Brown a lesson, right? Because he wants to stay in the past with this woman and blah, 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 blah.
But then he does. Like, so I don't really...
Yeah, there's no real lesson learned there. It's like, yeah, sure, you can run away to the past and just live there forever. That's fine.
Yeah,
you don't have to deal with your problems today.
You can build a time...
There's terrorists looking for you somewhere, Doc? What the fuck?
There's you can build a time-traveling train and you and your cartoon kids can travel around solving mysteries.
All right, so there is that one part, though, that Back to the Future 3 really... I feel like 1 and 2 were great about pointing out absurdity and then like tapping it on the shoulder and then like running away. You know, they got within proximity of being too ludicrous, but then were able to not do it, you know? But when that goddamn time-traveling train shows up, I remembered why I disliked Part 3. It's really, like, rewatch Part 3.
I did last year for my blog.
Oh, okay. All right. So, well, okay. Also, you have much lower standards for what good movies are because you watch so much crap. And you agree, you know this. So I'm not saying anything revolutionary here, but I feel like that was the point when it felt self-indulgent. You know, like,
oh yeah, no, there's really no. It definitely goes against literally everything that Doc has learned. Where he's like, you know what, we're not meant to fuck with time.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep doing it anyway. Which is kind of why...
to make Marty feel better? Who cares?
Which is kind of what... I still only watched one episode of it, but it's kind of what I love about Rick and Morty, is that it is just like this, hey, you know what? Looking back on it, Doc's a really dangerous person that is putting a young kid in a lot of shitty situations all of the time.
Yeah. Well, and last thing I'll say about Back to the Future in general, in particular, Part 3. So... Marty gets back from the Wild West, and immediately the DeLorean gets obliterated by a train. No one comes and picks up the pieces of the DeLorean. He gets home in the morning. He gets back to 1985 in the morning. Wakes up the second version of his girlfriend, Elizabeth Shue, who is a much better actress than the woman who played his girlfriend in Part 1. But the girl that played his girlfriend in Part 1 is so much better looking. It's just funny because Elizabeth Shue is gorgeous. But we were watching the first one. We started out and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that they switched out the actresses between Part 1 and Part 2. But the one in the Part 1 is so much prettier. It's just funny. Okay. So anyway, I'm done stroking off Back to the Future. I watched 3 horror movies, actually. I'm probably going to not have enough to talk about with the other 2 episodes we're doing, but I actually consumed quite a bit of media the last couple weeks. So, all right. So Megan and I watched Underworld, the original Underworld, because again, that's on Netflix. And Megan made it about halfway through, and she likes Underworld, but I was like, I have to finish it. The first one is pretty fun. I really like the mythology of the vampires and werewolves, and I mean, there are a million great people in this film. Not to mention, Captain Cold is Michael Corvin's buddy that works at the hospital with him. And that was mind-blowing because I did not recognize him. You know, the guy that plays Captain Cold on The Flash, and he's also in Prison Break. Wentworth Miller is his name. It's just so funny to see him back in like 2002 playing in Underworld. But yeah, I actually really like the original Underworld. I don't think it's really good for a horror movie night because I wouldn't have enough to make fun of, I don't think. But it's very 2002. And Michael Corvin looks like Scott Stapp.
If we did like Rise of the Lycans, we could probably find some shit to make fun of. But then
is that
that series actually got really good with Underworld Awakening. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I stopped after Part 3. Is 4 good?
The 4 is probably the best one because they realize what they're doing and like what this movie is, and it's like, okay, let's cut the shit. Let's just fucking full-on crazy action. I want people getting torn literally in half. I want, the lichens are scary, but what if we made it 3 times bigger and made it like a super lichen monster? And now let's fight that, and like just nutters shit is going on.
And the werewolves, I mean, you guys know I love werewolves, and I think that the werewolves are really good, and they're very intimidating in the Underworld series, even though and the CGI actually holds up really well. The only CGI that looks like it's from 2002 in the original Underworld is the inside when they're changing and their heart's beating and their ribs are expanding and shit. Everything else is really that must have been some top-notch CGI because it holds up.
I highly suggest that you watch 4. You don't really need to watch any of the in-between. I mean, you said that you watched them. But
I'll watch 4. And they're doing the final number 5. It's coming out 2017, I think.
Yeah, if they keep going in the same direction as they did with Awakening, but maybe even ranch it up. Why do I keep wanting to say ranch it up? Ratchet. Fucking ranch it up, bros. Make ranch legal again. If they ratchet it up just a little bit more even, then that's actually, I want to see that in theaters, because I listened to all these reviews for Awakening, and they said that seeing it in theaters was crazy because of the sound that the sound work that they did for it. It turned your whole chest into a subwoofer, where it was just the whole movie was just whoa 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 whoa, just doing crazy shit with the noise and stuff. So I'd be willing to see that in theater if they're going to continue in the same direction as that one.
Interesting. All right, so and I'll save one of the other two because I actually do have a good amount to say about it, and I want to get your feedback on it. But I watched Baskin. Again, these are all Netflix horror movies, which is they got a ton of new horror, which is fun. But Baskin was a movie that came out last year. It's Turkish, and people were blowing up about it online, the horror, our horror and Bloody Disgusting and stuff, talking about how it's this big deal because it was it was going to be the first Turkish horror movie that wasn't tongue-in-cheek, I guess, because I think that Turkish horror was very parody-based, I guess. That's what I read. But it was okay. It was pretty disappointing for what I was expecting it to be. It's very, very, very much a Nightmare on Elm Street type film. I would have liked it to be a little bit more original and a little bit more coherent. But that's the breaks. What can you do? So I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. It's visually a good-looking movie, but a lot of stuff happens, but nothing happens, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
sounds like Turkey just does not stack up to that great, great nation of Hungary.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch much. You know what I've been watching, and I'd never really watched it while it was airing or got into it very much, but I watched all of Bob's Burgers, consecutively, all of it, and that show's so good. I like that show a lot. It's really charming. It's like a go-to feel-good show for me now, where if I'm feeling down in the dumps, just throw that on. They got a cute little family. I love pretty well every actor that's involved with it. Hate the mom. Can't stand watching the mom.
I love the mom. All right.
The mom's the worst part for me.
That show is so interesting to me because I feel like the first 2 or 3 episodes seemed like the theme of the show was Bob's this normal guy who just his family is the worst thing ever. And then it just slowly kind of turned into a show about how much all those people really do love and care about each other. I was like, oh, that's nice. Because the first
that's what I'm saying. It's so heartwarming.
Quit nagging me, Nagatha Christie.
Of course, that gets a belly laugh out of me.
All right, well, that was Jack Frost 2, Attack or Revenge of the Killer Mutant Snowman. I don't even know what the actual title of this fucking movie is because it's absolute garbage that we even watched it. I didn't even write down what year.
Jack Frost 2, Attack of the Revenge of the Mutant Snowman, who's dead in the morning if he doesn't drink his coffee, and he doesn't know whether to shit or grab the barbecue sauce. The movie.
From 2000. So, sometimes we make movie choices that are far worse than anything you guys could email us. So give it a shot and contact us at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at hmnpodcast. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's exciting.
Facebook, SoundCloud.
Yeah,
email
Facebook,
us.
SoundCloud. Give us ratings and reviews, all that good stuff. We're probably launching a Patreon soon. All right, bye. See you next week.
Biff Tannen takes the cake. He's so good. He makes Back to the Future.
I could listen to him yell at his mom all fucking day.
I think that was his grandma, though.
Or yeah, his grandma.
Yeah.
I'm going out, Grandma. It's like.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.